Welcome to this installment of the Achievement in Sales Virtual Mentoring Series. Today we will share top tips for success when attending a conference. I'm Lynn, the co-founder of Petite to Queen. Our guest today is Debbie George. Debbie is an expert on events, trade shows, and conferences. She's managed them for companies, attended too many to mention, and as an executive vice president, drove year after year double-digit growth for a major national event. Thank you for joining us today.
Oh, thanks, Lynn, for having me. It's a pleasure, and looking forward to sharing all of my tips of attending a conference.
Well, that's great. And today's virtual mentoring topic, we plan to cover best practices for attending a conference. We will discuss the before, the during, and after the conference. And our focus is on sales professionals who are attending their first conference, who infrequently attend events, or who've not participated in a conference for some time. And this is part one of a two-part series. Our second part is for sales when you're exhibiting at a conference. So Debbie, let's get started here. So how do you identify and achieve your goals for a conference?
Oh, that's a great question, Lynn. I think it starts with honestly determining, why you want to attend a conference. What is it that you want to get out of it? Are you going for continuous education? Are you networking? Are you looking for sales opportunities, competitor espionage, or a variety of all of those things? It's really important to define what your goals and objectives are for attending that conference. And for example, if there's a trade show component to the conference, you might want to also include how much time do you want to spend on the show floor versus actually attending the conference. The other thing is there's a lot of conferences out there to choose from, and make sure you attend the right one, the one that's right for you. So spend some time checking out the website or the promotional material of the conference that you've kind of honed in on, the one that you think you want to attend. Know what's being offered, who the speakers are, who will be attending, and where and when it's being held. The other thing about attending is understanding your total budget. Your total budget includes the conference fees, travel, hotels, meals, and it's also a big time commitment. So if you only have the budget to attend one, make sure it meets your needs and is in a location that will fit your budget.
Absolutely. All good tips, Debbie. So after you've selected a conference, what are the key planning activities?
Oh, well, okay. So you get into the conference. What you want to do is create a list of the sessions that you want to attend. That's the first thing. But also, who are the people that you want to meet? Who do you want to see? If you're attending with a coworker, then I recommend dividing and conquering, taking sessions that run simultaneously so that you can maximize the information that you've gathered. At the end of the sessions, you can sit down and collaborate with each other and share your key learnings. And that's really important, because a lot of times I've attended a conference with another person and there's several that run at the same time. So if you don't have a coworker, maybe you can find somebody, network with somebody at the event and ask them to take notes for you. You can take notes for them, and that's a good networking tip as well. Before you go, schedule meetings and appointments with the people you want to connect with, because once you get to the event, people get busy, you get busy, and they may not have time for you in their schedule. Also, it's smart, I think, to invite people to breakfast, lunch, maybe a break for coffee, and or even dinner if you have a large list of people to see. Schedule in advance because people get busy, but also leave some time open in your schedule just in case you need to change a meeting or you meet someone new that you'd like to connect with. It's really important to have that time. So the next thing you want to do is review the course information to make sure it covers the information that you want to know. It's also wise to review the instructor because there are some that are more popular and better than others, and those classes tend to fill up fast. The instructor can make a big difference in what you're learning. Also, it might be important for you to understand if you're going to be getting a certificate or something that would be applicable to your job or help you get ahead. So know that. Take a look at it, see if you're going to get a CEU or if there is some kind of certificate that will help you in the future. Also, an elevator pitch, and for those of you that don't know what it is, although you probably should, an elevator pitch is a 15 to 30-second speech that you can use to spark interest in what your organization does. You should be able to simply state what you do or what you're promoting in the short time it takes for an elevator ride. Make sure you have one that is appropriate for the audience at the conference and practice it before you attend. Be ready at all times to tell people what you do or who you represent, and have a few questions prepared ahead of time to engage them in conversation. I mean, Lynn, you've used elevator pitches in your business, right?
Oh, of course. And you're right. It is very important to prepare it for the audience, for that conference, because depending on what your sales area of expertise is, there may be different silos, different industry segments that you sell into. And so making the adjustments to the elevator pitch to fit your market, their motivations, the triggers that they will have, that's really important. And the second part of that, to your point, is to have questions ready to ask the other individual to drive a conversation and engagement and find common ground. And not just, who are you and what do you do, but really, find out, why they're attending the event, what they hope to get out of it, what are some of the key learnings they're hoping to garner, whatever is appropriate for the particular conference that you're attending, but have some of those questions ready so that they're sort of like a jump start, right? So that you can get the conversation and the dialogue going, and then through that you can find some other segues into other parts of the conversation so that you can really start laying those foundations for a relationship.
Yeah, that's all very important information and well said.
So, Debbie, I have to say, we've all heard of the classic faux pas of forgetting your business cards. But and I've actually been in a position where I've had to ration them. But what other critical pointers do you have?
Yeah, business cards. I'll get back to that one in a minute because really we all have stories about that. But I think that when you sign up for a conference, really be mindful of the location and research the hotels. Hotels are important on the conference website to find the one that meets your needs and budget, and book your room in advance to take advantage of the discounted rates. And if it's a large conference, there may be multiple hotels, and some of them may be a considerable distance from the conference. So really research that, map out your options and opportunities, and if you can, I always recommend staying at the host hotel where the venue is. It's going to save you a lot of transportation and time.
Yes.
But if you can't, if that hotel is full, if it's not in your budget, then find the next closest place, but plan ahead. Some conferences actually have shuttle buses, that will take you from your hotel to the venue, but those can be slow and they fill up fast. And sometimes it can leave you waiting at the curb and you could be missing your session. Rental cars, they're nice to have, but then again, you have to find parking, you have to pay for it, and those cut into your travel time. They're also fairly expensive. And at the larger conferences, I think my personal transportation of choice is Uber or Lyft, as well as a taxi. And my recommendation is to always be prepared and flexible if you're running late, if there's heavy traffic, and have another way to get around other than just that shuttle bus or the taxi. I also scope out restaurants and other venues in the area. And it's really smart to make restaurant reservations in advance, even if you don't know how many people are going to dinner with you. If you're going to have a guest for dinner, at least book a couple reservations. Don't forget to cancel them if you don't attend, but that's really important too. And then I always make a checklist. I have a standard checklist that I've always used for conferences, events, trade shows. And at the top of that list is, drum roll,
Business
business cards.
cards.
Because you and I both have stories, and I can't tell you how many seasoned salespeople I have met who are constantly out of business cards. It's hard to believe, but it does happen. And make sure you have plenty of business cards. You don't have to ration them. Also make sure you've got pens, chargers, notepads, and a lightweight bag to collect all the information. Sometimes you'll be able to pick up a little plastic bag, but if you bring your own, I think sometimes it's a little bit nicer. And also bring gum, mints. This is pretty basic, but your credit cards, your note-taking tools, whether it's digital or paper, your travel itinerary, your confirmation registration forms, and your name tag if you have one. The other thing too is check the weather before you go and dress appropriately. If you're going into a part of the country where it's winter, make sure you've got a coat. I've seen people show up without one, and it's kind of like, you didn't check the weather, really? And then make sure your phone, tablet, and computer are charged. And the last tip, and I think, Glenn, I kind of got this one from you one time, keep your business cards within easy reach. So you're not fumbling for them. You have to put down everything that you're packing around to get it out. It just takes time away from the conversation that you could be having with that particular person.
Yeah, absolutely. And also have a two spots, sort of like for the cards that you're collecting and then the cards that you're handing out, so that you don't get them interspersed or intermixed, and that you accidentally hand somebody a card that you wanted for yourself. And
Yeah,
you end up
I've
losing
done
card
that.
that way. Yeah. So,
Okay, so also it's really important to create an effective lead system and make sure that it's something that works for you. One of my favorite, it's really simple. It's really collecting business cards. And when you collect the business card, make sure that you have a place where you put the business cards that you're collecting, probably not in the same place where you keep the business cards that you're handing out, because I've made the mistake of handing out somebody else's business card. I figured out what I was doing and immediately took it back. But it will save you the embarrassment of doing that. It also allows you to have time to have maybe a brief conversation with the contact while you're exchanging your business cards. And again, your lead system, make sure that it's something that works for you. If somebody doesn't have a business card, have a plan on how you're going to write down, where you're going to write their contact information, how to get a hold of them. Again, be prepared.
absolutely.
Yeah, and then apps. Most of the conferences these days have apps. And on the apps, you can find maps of the facilities. They have a lot of great information on the conference sessions. You'll have sponsors that will be sending you applicable messages. So check ahead in advance of getting to the conference if you can, and download that app on your smartphone. They're great to navigate. They really help you in case you're getting lost. Some of them actually have a messaging option where you can message other conference attendees. I mean, they're really great. And then, of course, there's other apps, if you want to tweet some of the information that you've picked up in the conference. Then there might be local apps to help you with restaurants and other visitor information you might want to know about. I think they're all appropriate.
Yeah.
Do you have any experiences on apps?
I think the funniest thing is using Uber and Lyft and not having used them for months and months until I go to the next event, and I have to log in and I can't remember my password. so, so my recommendation is to make sure you log into all the apps that you're going to normally use during a conference before you leave. So, because then it's all current, it's there, and you're prepared to be able to actually to get that Uber or Lyft if the shuttle bus is running late or it's overcrowded and you need to get to the venue, right? So,
Absolutely. Yeah, those pesky passwords. Yeah.
and I think the other thing that I would really recommend is to, as a essential piece for sales, is to bring along a portable charger. I know you talked about that, Debbie, but I actually have one that has dual ports. So it will actually recharge a smart device 4 times. So it's pretty powerful. And by having a second port, I also carry a second charger cord, and it's one of those that has multiple ends or connectors. So that way, regardless of the type of device someone else has, they're able to get a charge. And it's a great icebreaker. It's a great way to literally have someone I've met leashed to me, and being able to charge their phone, which they're grateful for. You can always see that panicked look. In fact, that's how I've met people before, because they're trying to figure out how to, their phone's about to die. And you can really make some great connections that way, naturally, genuinely, and have a laugh about it, and help them out. So that's an essential supply, I think.
Oh, it's a great tip, and you can quickly become somebody's new best friend immediately. And yeah, it's really a good tip, Lynn.
Well, as we look at the conference, Debbie, and during the conference, and we were just talking this, how do you have a great experience and make these valuable connections other than saving them with a phone charge?
Yeah, well, be prepared before you go and create your schedule, and so that you can manage your day and effectively meet all the people that you want to meet, listen to the content that you want to hear, and get out of the conference, meet those goals and objectives that you set early on. The other thing too is go early. Pick up your badge or registration the day before the conference starts to avoid long lines. And that's also a great time to scope out the location of your sessions, as well as restrooms, water fountains, coffee shops, where the food concessions are, and quiet spaces to make a phone call if necessary, in case you have one of those emergency calls that you just really have to take. But create your schedule before you go to effectively manage your day and accomplish everything that you want to do. Another thing I'd like to throw in is make sure that you plan for some breaks and stay hydrated. I mean, those conferences can be brutal, and they take a lot of energy. So make sure you have a break. And then in networking, if you're in your sessions, contribute to the conversation if that's appropriate and applicable. That will make you more memorable if you stay afterwards to meet the instructor or network with other attendees. I mean, I'm sure you've been in the conferences, and there's the people that are a little more outspoken, that contribute. Those are the people that other attendees tend to gravitate to. It's a great way to meet new people and to start building your network. Be social and hand out your business cards. Also, if you're one of those people that really participates in the session and you stay afterwards to meet the instructor, that's also a great time to meet other attendees and hand out your business cards. The other thing is take advantage of all the hospitality and networking events, even if it's out of your comfort zone. If you're there on your own, go anyways. It's a great way to meet potential clients and peers in your industry. And I guarantee there's a lot of people that are there on their own as well. And while you're at the conference, you really need to make sure that you're managing your leads appropriately per your plan. And if necessary, update your process, but make sure you know where you put the contact information of the people you want to reach after the conference. If you're collecting those business cards, make sure you put them all in one spot so you're not searching or you don't lose one. And at the end of the day, when you're in your hotel room, organize the leads that you collected that day and make notes about the action items for each contact. I know you think you'll remember when you get back, but I guarantee there's probably something that you're going to forget. Make those notes, keep them simple, keep them smart. Another tip is to take a photo of the business cards with your smartphone or tablet in the event they get misplaced before you get home. It's just a double, triple check for you so that you can follow up appropriately. I mean, Lynn, do you have any other tips?
Yeah, no, I think those contemporaneous notes, they really are key, because these events go for many days often. And I mean, you truly are, by the time you get back, you've also got a whole bunch of work waiting for you. So making
Yeah,
those notes that evening, carving out that time and having that as part of your schedule is really important.
I agree. I agree.
So, thinking of the events you've attended and managed, Debbie, what stands out for building relationships?
Oh, it's, smile. The first thing I have to say is smile. Truly, it makes you approachable. You don't want to be that person sitting in the corner, kind of looking around. If you're out there and you've got your elevator pitch ready and you can really start up a conversation with somebody quickly and easily, if you engage with people, they will typically respond. And also remember, it's a marathon, and pace yourself accordingly because it's a lot of work to be on the entire time. If you're that person sitting in the corner of the room because your feet hurt or you're tired, that's the persona that you send out, and you're not going to be as approachable. So really, again, practice that elevator pitch. It's really important. Have your list of questions. Ask about the other person. What are they learning at the conference? What can they share with you? People love to talk about themselves. Ask them about them, and you will quickly build a lot of those relationships. Also, I would say dressing for success at the conference, people are going to take you more seriously if you're dressed appropriately. And it's really true. That matters. And also wear comfortable shoes and have a different pair for each day. I can tell you this from years and years of experience. Be comfortable. They have shoes that are comfortable and stylish nowadays. Bring a different pair for every day because your feet will thank you, and in turn it really affects your enthusiasm and your energy during the day.
Absolutely, absolutely. I also recommend being mindful of your dress in the sense of some layers. I have several very lightweight vests that I can throw on or off, and they fold up really small so that they're easy to tuck into the tote, the ubiquitous tote that you get at the conference or that you've brought along. But they're also easy to shake out. They're not going to be a wrinkled mess, and slip right back on. And that way, I can really adjust my temperature as I need to, because sometimes some sessions could be really warm, and then there's other areas that it's like you're in the Polar Bear Express. So
Yes,
having that flexibility, and then yet not having to pack around a heavy jacket or sweater is really makes it much more convenient for you.
absolutely.
So, Debbie, how do you leverage the momentum and the connections and the inspiration following a conference?
Oh gosh, this is a step that's often forgotten or overlooked, and it's as important as prepping for the conference, and that's sitting down and spending time making notes about what you learned, who you saw, and what will benefit you and your company in the future. It's really, document those important takeaways, because after time they're going to fade. And also document what worked well for you and what didn't. What could you have done differently? Should you have dressed differently? Should you have brought extra extension cords? Did you run out of business cards? Or, hey, next time I'd like to take an extra session. I found I had more time. So really document, what worked, what didn't, and all of your key learnings. And then follow up, follow up, follow up. Can't say that enough. If you have exchanged business cards with somebody, follow up with that person, even if it's a short email, just to say, hey, it was really nice to meet you. I hope we run into each other again. And I have to tell you, most people don't do that. And if you do, you will stand out. If you promise to follow up with a phone call, an email, or a personal visit with someone, make sure you fulfill the commitment you made, because you really never know. That person that you connected with could be in the future your coworker, a boss, or it could be somebody who can help you connect with somebody else that you want to meet. So I would always say follow up, follow up, follow up.
Yes, and do what you say you'll do, right?
Absolutely. And I think one of my favorite ways to connect with people afterwards and continue to build the relationship is sending them a LinkedIn invitation.
Absolutely. And reminding them when and where you met them, even if it was a specific session or during a luncheon, so that it's not just the event that you're referring to, but the actual time and place that you met them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And those relationships sometimes, they really take off, and you may see that person again at the next conference.
Yeah, it is. It's fun. And then you start to recognize people, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And those are all for sales. That's what it's, at the end of the day, it's all about building those relationships, creating the foundation, and then just adding brick after brick as you move forward.
It is, and the more relationships that you build, the more connections that you have, you would be surprised in the future. It pays huge dividends. People move around, they change jobs, and you run into them over and over again. And just knowing more people in your industry, it's really important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Helps you get ahead.
It does. Big career boost there. Oh my goodness. So Debbie, thank you for your sage insights and advice. Our guests, I feel that they're poised to visualize their success at their next conference.
Thanks for having me, because it's been really fun. I enjoyed it.
Well, and thank you to all our members and guests who joined us for this installment of the Achievement in Sales Virtual Mentoring Series. And for being part of the dialogue here at Petite to Queen. If you have a question or would like to suggest topics for discussion, please email us at jointheconversation@petitetoqueen.com.